Hello to anyone who takes the time to watch this. I know there's not much use speculating, but like many of us, I've had more free time than usual lately, so I decided to look into who I think would make up a good cast for the new live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender series that's coming to Netflix, hopefully soon. First of all, I think it would be awesome if the open casting call actually opens the way for a lot of new actors and actresses. But since I can't make a list of unknowns who would be perfect, here are some actors and actresses who, from what I can tell, would fit. Especially considering that they're trying to keep everyone about the same age as the cartoon. That was probably the hardest part. I focused on the main characters, but threw some others in when I found someone who seemed right. I included small clips of them acting if I could. Okay, here we go. First, obviously, Aang. There were two options I found that seemed good for him. The first is Chen. He's 13, so a little older than Aang, but close enough. He plays the youngest son, Evan, in the show Fresh Off the Boat, so it's easy enough to see him acting. But here's a short clip.
Say that again now?
I went into your school.
I heard you the first time! How could you do that to me? I loved her.
And second is Izaac Wang. I haven't seen him in anything personally, but he looks the part. And he's 12, so he's exactly the right age. I'll do Gyatso next since he's the closest thing Aang has to family. I think it would be cool to see Huy Quan in this role. He just seems genuinely kind, just like Gyatso. Next is Katara. I really like Kiawenti Tarbell for this part. An article from September of 2019 said she was 13 at the time, so she could be 14 now. If not, she's close. So she's about the right age. She's Native American and she plays Coquet and Anne with an E. Initially in this role, she's a very sweet, happy character, but she also has some very dark, emotional moments after going to an Indian boarding school. Here's a scene from that.
This is all your fault. You wanted me to go to that school. They told me I'm worthless. Stupid. Why did you even have me? I hate you.
Velocido. I'm Sequoidus.
No, it's not all right.
Now Sokka. I personally really like Forrest Wheeler for this part. I've seen some suggesting that he be Aang, but he's already 16. I've seen him in Fresh Off the Boat, and I think he could portray Sokka well. He already has the wardrobe.
And look at you, sleeveless guy. Been working out?
Really, the biggest issue with this choice is that one sibling is Native American and one is part Chinese. But since I really like both of these people for Sokka and Katara, these are who I chose for their parents. For Hakoda, Tatanka means. I think he's an awesome fit. I know some people might think he's too young at 35, but remember that Yue was engaged at 16 and her fiance also looked young. So it wouldn't be far-fetched for members of the water tribes to be young parents. I couldn't find many clips that showed his acting, but here's one from the 2013 movie Tiger Eyes.
See those caves? Tell you what people lived in them 800 years ago. My ancestors.
Your ancestors?
Yeah. Now that part of my family lives in a pueblo 30 miles that way.
And for his wife, Kaya, Alisa Allapach. She's about the same age, 36. I thought having one Native American parent and one of Southeast Asian descent would make my Katara and Sokka sibling choice make sense. And here's a quick side note about that. I know some people want entire nations to be exclusively one ethnicity. To me, though, this doesn't make sense. Between Sokka, Katara, Aang, and Toph, 3 nations are represented. All they had to do to hide out in the Fire Nation unnoticed was change clothes. To me, this means one of 2 things. Either every single nation has to look indistinguishably similar, or every nation has to have diversity. I prefer the latter. Maybe that's just me, but you will see this preference reflected in my choice of cast. Anyway, back to that cast. I thought I would Photoshop some pictures to prove how great these actors and actresses would look as this water tribe family, but I do not have that kind of talent. So here's a quick family collage where they all have blue eyes. While we're on the water tribe, Bato. Tokala Black Elk would be great. And for Gran-Gran, Native American actress Monique Mojica. I couldn't figure out her age, but I think she'd be great. She's in an awesome movie called Smoke Signals. She plays one of the main character's grandmas, and she's very silly and loving. If you haven't seen Smoke Signals, you definitely should. I highly recommend it. Master Paku. I saw Wes Studi suggested a couple of times, and I think that would be cool to see. And for Hama, Tantoo Cardinal. The last Water Tribe character I have a suggestion for is Yue. I think Jenna Ortega would be a good fit. This is where I truly realize I have no photoshopping skills, so this will be my last attempt that you'll have to see. Now back to the gang. Toph. There are two actresses I like for her. The first is 12-year-old Lotus Blossom. I don't know much about her, but she definitely has this sweet, harmless look. Here's a clip from a 2017 T-Mobile commercial she was in.
Yeah, but that doesn't include fees and added taxes.
Fees and added taxes?
They're all listed on your bill.
Are you kidding me?
There's the line access fee, the standing on my lawn fee, and tips.
I also like 13-year-old Miya. It seems like she has playing tough characters down from the little bit I've seen of her. Here's a quick look.
Let's go.
You're like, nope, more.
There you go.
I think either one would be a good choice. Now for Zuko. I think the Taiwanese actor Su Chuan-Liu would be great. The issues? I don't know how old he is, or if he can speak English. I could find very little about him, but he's the main character of the first episode of the show On Children. The episode is called Mother's Remote. It's a very dark and interesting show that I recommend watching. It's on Netflix, and in this episode, he gives a lot of variety, being a silly kid with his friends, falling in love, dealing with unrealistic expectations, frustration. He even screams into the air. What's more Zuko than that? But again, I don't even know if he speaks English. I've also seen the talented martial artist Aiden Kennedy suggested if he can act, that would be cool. An article from March of 2019 said he was 14, so now he's at least 15, possibly 16. So now, Zuko's family. I like the suggestion I've seen out there of Paul Sun-Hyung Lee for Iroh. I feel like he's younger than most people want for the part, but I think his age works well. I also like Benedict Wong for the part. I think either one of them would be great. For Azula, I like Lily Chi. I haven't seen much of her acting, but she did play young Elektra in the Daredevil series, so she has some experience being tough and a little unstable. It's been a few years, so I'm sure her performance would be even more convincing now. She's 16, so she's a couple years older than the character, but I know most fans thought she seemed older anyway, so maybe that would work well. Maybe she and Zuko can switch ages or be twins. I don't know, that could add to the sibling rivalry. Or we could just pretend they're whatever age we want them to be. For Ozai, my first suggestion might have similar issues to my Zuko suggestion. I like the Taiwanese actor Joseph Chung. He just gives off the right vibe to me. I really like his show The Victim's Game on Netflix. If you like crime mystery shows and you don't mind some disturbing graphic scenes, I recommend it. His character in that is very different from Ozai, but it's a good show and he does lose his temper a few times, so we would get a little peek into what his Ozai could be. I think he could pull it off. I just don't know about his English skills. So I also think Paolo Montalban would be a good option. He has a good look for Ozai too, and he could pull it off. And for Ursa, Kristen Krug. I don't really have much to elaborate on, I just think she would work well for this character. So here's the 4 immediate family members together. First with Joseph Chung as Ozai, and my 2 different Zuko suggestions. And then with Paolo Montalban as Ozai, with the 2 different Zuko suggestions. The last of their family members I picked someone for is Lu Ten. I know he didn't really have a role in the animated version, but I'm hoping we'll get more of him in Iroh. My first thought was Charles Melton. I also think it would be cool to have Brandon Suhu in this part. I know a lot of people want him as Zuko, and I see why, but he's almost a decade older than the character, so this might be an acceptable alternative for some people. While we're here, let's do the rest of the Fire Nation characters I found. I like Siena Agudong for Ty Lee. I've seen her suggested as Katara a lot, but I like her better in this role. Her voice is similar and she seems bubbly enough for the part. I had a hard time with May, but I think Anna Cathcart could work. She plays the youngest sister in the movie to all the boys I've loved before. Here's a short clip of her from her show Zoe Valentine.
When did everything get so messed up?
I don't know.
I just want things to go back to normal.
For Zhao, I saw the suggestion of David Lee McInnes. I haven't seen him in anything, but he looks pretty perfect. Now all that's left are the Earth Kingdom characters. I'll start with Bumi. This might sound crazy, but I think John Leguizamo would be really good. He's obviously not as old as the character, but we're not getting that anyway. And I know he's not the most physically intimidating, but he commits to crazy characters like not many other actors do. Just watch his movie The Pest, or even just the intro. Here's a small taste.
I like to do my police, cruise and creep, play 3-car money on these crazy streets, straight hustler. I'm all a scam man, I'm in it, so low to the flow, pick the pocket on a midget. Slick shyster, the best meister, living life in Miami's vice. Mercy.
For Suki, I like Yolanda Garcia. Here's a small clip that's a few years old.
Why are you following me and why are you taking pictures of me?
Who
are you?
I was just,
Speak up!
Jet was difficult for me because of the age. I found a few actors who I think have a very Jet vibe about them, but maybe a little old to have any type of romantic encounter with Katara. First, Xolo Maridueña, but he's 19. Then Tenzing Norgay Trainer, but he's also almost 19. There's also Riley Liu, who's not far from 18. Their ages could make the whole Katara thing a bit creepy. Tenzing Norgay Trainer has a 15-year-old brother who also looks the part. His name is Calden Trainer, but I don't know if he can act. I know there's also a rumor that George Denodo, who had a small role in the last live-action movie, will be playing Jet. I don't mind, except he's 21. Everyone wants Dwayne Johnson for the Boulder, and I am totally fine with that. I think it would be cool to see James Duval as the Earth King. I would really love to see more of him, but I couldn't think of another role. There's also this adorable actress, Talia Tran. I thought maybe she could be Jin. And the last character on my list is Judy. I think Rosalind Chow would be perfect.
Okay, good idea. How about I do?
When I'd almost finished this list, I found out that Dante Bosco has a niece who's an actress, Ella J. Bosco. It would be cool if she could be involved somehow. And obviously, Dante Bosco has to be involved too. So that's it. I know there's so many more characters, but I didn't want to get too crazy. I hope you enjoy, and I can't wait to see who the roles go to when the time comes.